In this section, we'll learn how to install PHP on Mac OS X with Apache. There are already pre-compiled and pre-packaged versions of PHP available for Mac OS. However, some of these versions may not come in the standard configuration. This means if a user needs additional features, like a database server or specific extensions, they may have to build PHP manually on their Mac system. It's always a good idea to first check whether your Mac already has a pre-built packaged version of PHP that includes the required features. If it doesn't, then you'll need to install or build PHP yourself. The easiest and quickest way to install PHP on Mac OS is by using the Homebrew Package Management System. To do this, visit the official Homebrew website at https://chochbrew.sh and install Homebrew. Once it's installed, you can open the terminal and use the appropriate command to start the PHP installation process. Apart from Homebrew, Mac OS users can also use other reliable sources to install PHP. These include MacPorts, which can be found at http://www.macports.org, and Finq, available at http://www.finqproject.org. These platforms provide ready-made, pre-compiled PHP binaries that can be easily installed on Mac OS systems. Additionally, Mac OS users often have PHP already pre-installed in their operating system. However, this version may be outdated or missing certain components. In that case, it's recommended to update the PHP version and reconfigure the web server, ensuring it runs smoothly with Apache. Once everything is ready, you can simply switch on the web server to begin using PHP on your Mac. Now that we've discussed installing PHP on Mac OS, let's go through the manual configuration steps required to make PHP work with Apache. Step 1. Start by opening the Apache configuration file, which is located in the directory, etc. httpd://httpd.conf. Open this file using any text editor with administrative privileges. This is the file that controls how Apache behaves on your system. Step 2. Inside this file, locate a few specific lines related to PHP and remove the comment symbol, which is the hash sign, from the beginning of each line. Uncommenting these lines enables PHP support within Apache. The lines you'll need to uncomment are Chacker load module, php4 module, libexec chat httpd lib php4. So, add module mod php4.c, add type application x6 httpd php.php, and add type application x httpd php source phps. By removing the hash symbol, you are telling Apache to load the PHP module and recognize files with the .php and PHP's extensions. Step 3. Once these changes are made, save the file and restart your web server. Restarting ensures that Apache applies the new configuration settings and enables PHP support. Step 4. To verify that everything is working correctly, open a text editor like TextEdit or Visual Studio Code and create a new file. Inside that file, write a simple PHP script as follows. pop-info. This command displays PHP's configuration details when executed. Finally, save this file as test.php inside your web server's document root directory. This is usually found under Library Web Server Documents, or var www.html, depending on your system. Now let's move on to PHP installation on Linux and Unix systems using Apache. The process is quite similar to what we've seen for Windows and Mac OS, but there are a few prerequisites that you need to make sure are ready before installation. First, you'll need the PHP source distribution for version 8. This can be downloaded directly from the official PHP website at https://www.php.net downloads.php. This file contains all the necessary components to build and install PHP on a Linux or Unix system. Next, make sure you have the latest Apache source distribution installed on your system. Apache acts as the web server that allows PHP to run and display web pages dynamically. If your project requires database support, such as MySQL, Oracle, or any other database system, make sure you also have those installed or ready for configuration. Finally, you'll need a tool called Make Utility, which is used to compile and build PHP from its source code. You can freely download this utility from the GNU website at http://www.gnu.org/software-make. By ensuring these prerequisites are installed and properly configured, you'll have a smooth setup process for PHP on Linux or Unix. Now let's move on to the practical steps for installing Apache and PHP 8.0.13 on a Linux or Unix operating system. This process involves extracting files, configuring the Apache web server, and preparing it to run PHP smoothly. Step 1. Begin by unzipping and extracting the tar files of the Apache server. You can do this by running the command tar xvf httpd 2.4txx tar.gz. This command unpacks the compressed Apache installation files. Once the extraction is complete, navigate into the Apache source directory using the command cd apache 2.4.x. This will take you inside the extracted folder where the installation scripts are located. Next, configure the installation by running configure prefix usr local apache enable so. This command prepares Apache for installation and enables dynamic module support, allowing you to add or remove modules later without rebuilding the entire server. After that, compile the program using the make command, and then run make install to complete the installation process. The make command builds Apache from the source files, while make install copies the compiled program to the correct directories on your system. Step 2. Once the installation is complete, the next step is to configure the Apache server. To do this, navigate to the Apache configuration folder using cd usr local apache.conf. Then, open the configuration file using a text editor such as vi with the command vi httpd.conf. This file controls how Apache runs on your system, including server settings, modules, and PHP integration. You'll need to make specific edits here to connect Apache with PHP, which we'll explain in the next steps. Now that we've configured Apache, let's move to the next part, installing PHP itself on your Linux or Unix system. Step 3. Begin by unzipping and extracting the PHP source distribution files. To do this, use the following command in your terminal: tar xvf php 8.0xx tar.g. This command will unpack the PHP installation files from the compressed archive. Next, navigate into the extracted directory by typing cd php 8.0.x. This step ensures that you're inside the PHP folder, where all installation and configuration commands will be executed. Step 4. If you are planning to use MySQL as your database, then you'll need to configure PHP so it can communicate with MySQL properly. This is done using the following command: configure with apex usr sbin apex with mysql usr bin mysql here. The with apex option links PHP to Apache, allowing Apache to recognize PHP scripts. The with MySQL option tells PHP where the MySQL binary files are located, so it can interact with your database smoothly. Once configuration is complete, compile the source code using the make command, and then finalize the installation with make install. The make command will build PHP from the source files, and make install will copy all necessary PHP components to their correct directories so that Apache can execute PHP scripts. After these steps, your Linux or Unix system will have both Apache and PHP properly installed and configured, ready to serve dynamic web applications. Now we've reached step 5, which is about configuring the php.ini file. This file is extremely important because it defines how PHP behaves on your server, including settings for error handling, file uploads, memory limits, and much more. To install and configure this file, you'll first need to copy the php.ini file from your PHP directory to the appropriate location on your system. You can do this using the following command: cp php.ini usr local lib php.ini. This command copies the php.ini file into the usr local lib directory, which is the standard location where PHP expects to find its configuration file. After copying the file, you can edit it according to your project's requirements. For example, you may want to adjust values like maximum upload size or enable certain PHP extensions. Finally, perform similar configuration steps as you did during the Windows installation, such as searching for the document root within Apache's configuration files and making sure PHP is properly linked to the web server. Once all these configurations are done, your Linux or Unix system will have PHP fully integrated with Apache, ready to execute PHP scripts smoothly. Now that we've configured PHP and Apache, let's move to the final setup and testing phase to make sure everything works perfectly. Step 7. At this stage, the user can add PHP extension directives. These directives tell Apache how to handle PHP files and other file types that should be interpreted as PHP. To do this, open your Apache configuration file and add the following lines. Add type application, x httpd php, php. Add type application, x httpd php.html. The first line ensures that all files ending with PHP are processed as PHP scripts, while the second line allows even .html files to be parsed as PHP. This is useful when you want to embed PHP code inside regular HTML pages. Step 8. Once you've made these changes, it's very important to restart your Apache server. Whenever you modify the HTTP configuration or make edits to the php.ini file, the web server must be restarted for those changes to take effect. You can do this by stopping and restarting the Apache service manually, or by using a terminal command like sudo systemctl restart Apache. This step refreshes the server environment and ensures that the new PHP settings are properly loaded. Step 9. Finally, let's test your installation. Open a text editor and create a simple PHP file, just like in the previous examples. Type the following code. php.info. Save this file as test.php inside your web server's document root directory, usually var www.html. Then open a browser and go to http://localhost test.phpif. PHP has been installed and configured correctly. You'll see the PHP information page. This confirms that PHP and Apache are successfully communicating, and your server is ready to run dynamic web applications.